Hi, I'm Onisa and welcome to my garden room. So in this video, I'm going to show how I use hydroponics to supplement my traditional seed starting. I use the AeroGarden system, which is a hydroponic system, and hydroponic gardening is basically just using a water-based solution rather than using soil to grow plants and start seeds. In my AeroGarden system, plants grow 2 to 3 times as fast than they do the traditional way. So I love to use it to kind of get a jump start, or if I'm a little bit behind, to play catch up. And it's a mess-free, really easy method of starting seeds and growing plants, which is why I love it. And it's almost foolproof because I almost get 100% germination when I use this method. Now, this video is not sponsored. AeroGarden has not sponsored me at all, but I'm just sharing this with you all because I really love using these systems. I actually have 2 now. This video footage is old. This is a video I shot last year, but just never posted, so forgive some of the old camera work, but it's still an important video I wanted to share to show how I start my seeds and how I get all my plants ready for my spring-summer season. This year I started all my peppers and my tomatoes and my eggplant in the AeroGarden, and I probably started them a little too early. They're huge now, so keep that in mind. Things grow a lot faster, don't be like me, and you can wait probably closer to your planting out date to start those seeds because they're gonna grow in about 1/3 of the time. So let's get right into the video. I'm gonna show you how to set up the AeroGarden, how I kind of document what I'm planting in the AeroGarden, and how I use a different attachment that is provided by the company on the website to use it for seed starting. So here we go. Okay, so here is my AeroGarden system all disassembled. Here is the base. I have the Harvest Slim, and this is where the power source goes. That's where the pump plugs in. And then underneath are the LED lights. Here is the reservoir and tray, and this is where the pods will live and the plants will grow. Now, when you buy your AeroGarden, it will not have all these spaces. It'll probably have 9, maybe 6. I forgot what the standard amount is. But what I did is I ordered an additional attachment. So this is called a seed starting tray. And excuse me if it looks a little crusty and dusty. This is specifically for seed starting. So a typical AeroGarden is meant to be an indoor garden, right? So it's going to have 6 or 9, but much fewer spaces so that the plants have enough space and resources to grow to a decent size so you can harvest from your countertop or table or wherever you have it. With the seed starting attachment, this has 23 spaces, and so it's really just meant to do what it says, start seeds, and then I eventually transplant them, which is what I do. So I start them, I grow them to a decent height because they grow really fast in here, so maybe 2 inches tall, and then I will up pot them and maybe up pot them again depending on the time of season. But if it's warm enough and things can go straight outside, I will harden them off and put right out into the garden. So if you're going to be using the AeroGarden for seed starting like I am, I highly recommend getting this attachment because you can start so many more plants at once and be more efficient that way, because again, everything grows really fast, so you can get a couple rounds in and out of here in just a few weeks. That would normally take a couple months the traditional way. If you don't feel like spending the money on the attachment, you can definitely still achieve the same goal with the tray that it comes with. You're just obviously going to have less production at a time, but still works. And I think it's a great supplement to traditional seed starting. You're also going to need some sponges. They look like this. I'll take one out in a second. So another difference between the seed starting tray and the normal tray is that in the regular standard tray that comes with the machine, the pods come in a little plastic container, like a little cradle, that has the name of the seed inside of it. With this attachment, it's too many spaces for that kind of cradle for the pod, so you're not gonna get that. So you're gonna have to take good notes on what you're planting in here because it's not gonna say the name of the seed on the pod container. And I'll show you what I mean to make that make more sense. Okay, I'm gonna get started. Lift this up, and I'm gonna fill this up again. I did clean this. It's just sometimes it's hard to get every little bit, but you fill it to where it says. So I'm gonna go fill this with some water.
Well, it's not filled out yet.
So that pretty much is what's required for setup. It doesn't take a lot. It's not a lot to it. And you can check the manual when you get it about how to actually set it up, but it's pretty much you just hold a button, and then from the time you put it on is when it starts its cycle. I think it's on 11 hours or more, and then shuts off, auto shuts off, and then comes back on. The water button will let you know when the water is too low to keep the motor and the pump running, so you'll have to refill the water. And then plant food. So they do send you liquid plant food. It gives you the guide. So if you have, so there's 12 pod models, 9 pod, you see, so on and so forth. And if you have a larger amount, I would just use the 12 pod kind of guideline, and it tells you how frequently. So when it needs more plant food to remind you, this will turn red to let you know to add some more to keep it growing and keep it fed. These are the grow sponges. If you're wondering, yes, you can plant these directly into new soil or into your backyard or garden soil. They work perfectly fine. I've done it multiple times. So don't be, alarmed by their structure. They can go right into the dirt. As far as record keeping, I keep this pretty simple. I just make circles for the amount of spaces that there are in the tray. So I have 3 at the top. Then I'm going to count these 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 3 at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. And then I make sure I say that this is the left side. And then I do the same thing for the other side. I made them a little big, so I'm just gonna do it down here. 5. And then this one has 4 at the bottom, so I'm gonna do 4. And I'll make sure I put right. It might seem self-explanatory, but sometimes you forget and get confused. Okay. So from here is where I take my notes. I highly recommend using pencil, because if for whatever reason a seed doesn't make it, or if you pull a seed out and you don't feel like redoing this entire chart, you can just erase and rewrite the new plant that you put in, the new seed that you put in that space. Most importantly, because this is something I often forget, make sure you put the date. So today's the 3rd. Then I'll just write the seeds in as I place them in the cells. This round I'm going to be starting a bunch of herbs. So I'm going to be doing some dill, parsley, basil, purple basil, oregano, thyme, another variety of thyme. They look different, so I wanted to try both. Chives. I love having chives all around the garden. I have a couple bunches, but I want more to pop in and out of the beds. Bee balm. Cinnamon basil. Really excited about this. Cinnamon is one of my favorite flavors, so I'm interested to see if it does taste like cinnamon. Chamomile. I did not plant nearly enough last year. I had, I think, 2 small plants, and I combined them. It just wasn't enough, so I want to up that production and kind of get quite a few plants out there. And lemon balm. I actually have lemon balm. It is a perennial, so I have some regrowing in a pot from a start that I bought at the garden center, but I want to start a few more pots of my own from seed. And then I'm going to start my celery in here too. I've heard celery is notorious for kind of being a slow starter and slow grower. So anything that is known to be slow or a little tricky to get started, I like to start in the AeroGarden because it is a little more foolproof. So I'll be starting Chinese pink and Chinese white celery. Okay, I'm going to decide how many of each seed I want to start right now. And then I'm going to write them in their spots. For this side, I'm gonna do dill. I'm gonna do a couple dill because the butterflies love it, and I plan on making pickles, so it'd be good to have some homemade dill, homegrown dill. So my all-time most used herb is cilantro. I buy packs of it whenever I see it because I use so much of it. So I'm thinking, I have never tried it in the AeroGarden or in like individual containers with the traditional way. I've always just started like a large pot of it outside. So I'm gonna try something different. I think I'm gonna do cilantro for these last 4 and see how they grow individually because I've never grown them like that. So let's do that. Okay, so our chart is done. I have the date, I have the seeds named and labeled and on the correct side. And all that's left to do is to fill it. The same way, my traditional way, I like to fill out my tags first. This way there's no mistaking what I'm planting and I don't kind of confuse myself because I am notorious for confusing myself. So let's drop these seeds. Okay, so here we are. It is March 20th. I planted these on the 3rd and just look at the growth. At this point, when they start getting mature like this, you'll see changes in growth every single day, which is pretty amazing. I did have some casualties because my daughter inadvertently sprayed some cleaning solution thinking it was a water bottle, and so I lost my thyme and my oregano, which looks like they're still trying to survive. Oh, it's focusing. It looks like it's trying to survive, but I don't have high hope. I'm just gonna replant those. But oh, and then looks like this one back here, which was lemon balm. And you see like the darkness, that's like the burn from the spray. But thankfully everything else survived. If you see here, that's some of the damage as well, but it ended up bouncing back. The chamomile did. But this is the cinnamon basil. It looks absolutely beautiful. The chamomile looks nice and lush. Cilantro looks good. Dill looks good. So, and these are the celery. And then I'm gonna go ahead and up pot these other herbs because they are ready for a new home. And then I'm gonna go start my second round in the AeroGarden. So a quick little lesson how I up pot from my AeroGarden. I just get any container. This is I believe 3-inch pot. Make a little center here. This is just, you know, store-bought potting soil. And then I'm gonna very carefully, I'll start with the cinnamon basil, very carefully remove it from the system. Look at that those nice roots. and leaves. Let me get a better shot. Okay, I'm going to use the light from the AeroGarden, but really pretty roots. And you see these are like the sponges. They don't turn into dirt or anything. They stay pretty spongy. But you can just as easily place them into some dirt or soil.
My turn.
And I'm going to nest that in, and then I'm going to top this off, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, bringing it over to my soil bin. Getting kind of low. I did a lot of uppotting this weekend, so I need to refill. But yeah, I'm just going to top this off. You don't have to use this kind of pot. This is just what I have available right now. And just like that, I have a nice cinnamon basil. So there you have it. That's how I started a lot of my seeds last year, and I continue to do so this year. Like I mentioned earlier, I have 2 systems now, and I really do love it. Again, I think it's an easy way. It's great for beginners or people who are busy and just don't have the time to do a full-on traditional seed starting station. So let me know, have you considered using hydroponic gardening? Do you already use this kind of systems? Have you created their own? Because some people make their own systems, which I think is really cool. Let me know in the comments, and also if you have any questions, leave those in the comments as well. And thank you for watching, and happy growing.